Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Accotink Unitarian Universalist Church live stream worship service. I am Nancy Melito, your worship associate today, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. Pardon me, I'm still getting used to that. Accotink UU Church is a welcoming and inclusive community that seeks to create a more just and compassionate world through our actions to bring about justice and by honoring the web of nature of which we are a part. All are welcome here, no matter whom you love, no matter your identity or heritage, no matter your beliefs or background, no matter your means or gifts, you are welcome here in this religious community. If you are new to Accotink and would like to talk more about this church, please be sure to reach out to me, our minister, Reverend Pippin, or a member of the board. Contact information is posted on our website, www.accotinkuu.org. On our website, you can check the online order of service on the worship section. And while you are on the website, be sure to check out our events page for upcoming virtual gatherings and other news. I now invite you to close your other windows or apps and devices, take a deep breath, and center yourself for worship. Reverend Dr. Alexa Fraser is our guest preacher today. Reverend Pippin let you all know that she will be our pastoral care minister for this year. She'll be preaching about once a month and will provide pastoral care to those in need 1 week a month. I encourage you to get to know her after worship and through the days ahead. Some of you may know her from her visit to us in May, where she preached a sermon named A Better Normal. She has served as an interim or transitional minister at our churches in Sterling, Virginia, Lynchburg, Virginia, and Poughkeepsie, New York. Welcome, Reverend Alexa.
Thank you. The call to worship today, and yet you persist, by Reverend Gretchen Haley. Though you have been warned and given plenty of explanations, reasons to do otherwise, you have persisted to claim a life of joy and justice, to carve out this time, this space for the renewal of your own heart. Despite all the reasons, the resistance, fighting for your attention, lurking you towards fear, you persist. You persist to practical gratitude for this day, this life that has been given, this chance to begin again. And so let us gather that we might offer one another courage, strength, healing, hope, and this promise to persist in kindness, persevere in compassion, and prevail in a life that is far more than ourselves. Come, let us worship together. We light this chalice for the web of life which sustains us, for the sacred circle of life in which we have our being, for the earth and all her people, for the sky above and below, and for our Mother Earth, and for mystery. Today we'll be reading a book that many of us had read to us as children, and which many of us read to our children. The Giving Tree is 50 years old this year. Kids, I'm going to be asking for your opinions and some of your thoughts on what you hear. I'm really looking forward to your comments. We're only going to read part of the book, and then I'm going to pause and ask for your thoughts. So listen up. The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Once there was a tree, and she loved a little boy. And every day the boy would come and he would gather her leaves and make them into crowns and play king of the forest. He would climb up her trunk and swing from her branches and eat apples. And then they would play hide and go seek. And when he was tired, he would sleep in her shade. And the boy loved the tree very much, and the tree was happy. But time went by, and the boy grew older, and the tree was often alone. Then one day, the boy came to see the tree, and the tree said,
"Come, boy, come and climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and eat apples and play in my shade and be happy."
"I am too big to climb and play," said the boy. "I want to buy things and have fun. I want some money. Can you give me some money?"
"I'm sorry," said the tree, "but I have no money. I have only leaves and apples. Take my apples, boy, and sell them in the city. Then you will have money and you will be happy."
And so the boy climbed up the tree and gathered her apples and carried them away, and the tree was happy. But the boy stayed away for a long time, and the tree was sad. And then one day the boy came back, and the tree shook with joy, and she said,
"Come, boy, climb up my trunk and swing from my branches and be happy."
"I'm too busy to climb trees," said the boy. "I want a house to keep me warm," he said. "I want a wife and I want children, and so I need a house. Can you give me a house?"
"I have no house," said the tree. "The forest is my house. But you may cut off my branches and build a house. Then you will be happy."
Okay, kids, let's see. First off, let me remind you that you can raise your hand virtually in a way that will make it very easy for our technical experts to point you out. But who's got a comment? How's this going?
Reverend Alexa, I have the question.
Uh-huh.
I want to know what's going to happen to the tree if the branches are cut off. Won't that hurt the tree? I'm afraid for the tree.
Yeah, I can see why. I can see why you're saying that or raising that question. I'm going to say that I raised this question with grandkids and several other young people I know. And a couple of them said that they thought that the boy was being mean, asking that question. Another boy used the word selfish to describe the tree's behavior.
Reverend Alexa, I do see that Ben T worried the branches will get cut off.
Okay.
And Peter, the boy keeps asking for things and the tree keeps giving them. And one more comment, that Penelope just really loves the story.
Okay, well, good. This is going to be a lively time. Reverend Pippin has asked me to share a prayer based on the work of VOICE. VOICE stands for Virginians Organized for Interfaith Engagement, which this congregation is a part of. VOICE has asked for prayers over the next 10 days, and we are working with them. So this goes two ways. One is that Jen has shared a link in the chat for you to allow you to share your own prayer or well wishes with Governor Northam on the issue of eviction. The other is that I will be saying a prayer today and Reverend Pippin will be saying one next week for this cause. Spirit of light, God of love, as members of VOICE, our hearts are overflowing with love and great concern for our neighbors who stand to be evicted. They are vulnerable, and we pray that you touch the heart, the minds, the soul of Governor Northam, that he will hear our cry for mercy and justice. When we witness wrong done to others, particularly those who do not have the strength to defend themselves, then we as people of faith need to express our anger, the anger that gives us boldness and outspokenness to defend what is right and just. Our sense of outrage at injustice is now channeled into loving action for those being impacted by injustice and lack of mercy. Now, more than ever, Voice is calling for Governor Northam to lead a moratorium on evictions and rent relief funding for our neighbors, the Black, the Brown, the Latinx, the immigrant, and the undocumented, those most impacted by racism and this unprecedented pandemic. Blessed be. Amen.
And now a reading from Jane Hirschfield titled Optimism. More and more, I have come to admire resilience, not the simple resilience and resistance of a pillow whose foam returns over and over to the same shape, but the sinuous tenacity of a tree. Finding the light newly blocked on one side, it turns in another. A blind intelligence, true, but out of such persistence arose turtles, rivers, mitochondria, figs, all this resinous, unretractable earth.
A little while ago, we read the first part of the book, The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. Thanks for thinking about the questions. What do you think happens next in the book? And what do you wish would happen now in the book? Since the 50th anniversary of its publishing, lots of people are rediscovering it. And honestly, I find this to be a pretty confusing story. I'm all for kindness and generosity, and certainly the first part of the book, and on first pass, that is what the book seems to be about. The tree just gives and gives. It starts with it giving some leaves that were probably ready to fall anyway. Then the tree gave apples, and of course those don't hurt the tree to give. Then the tree lets the boy climb it. He's now their friend. They're swinging in the branches. Again, so far so good. They played together, and the boy played with other friends under it. I can see why the narrator keeps saying that the boy loved the tree and the tree was happy. That is the refrain throughout the book. The tree was happy. But was the boy acting lovingly towards that tree? Was the tree behaving with self-love? Those are two questions, but I think related. I recently took a class where a different definition of love from any I'd ever heard was given. Here is a slide that shows the definition of love given in that class. Love is the willingness and ability to allow others the right to make their own choices for themselves without any insistence that they satisfy me. Again, the willingness and ability to allow others the right to make their own choices for themselves without any insistence that they satisfy me. And here is a slide with the definition of self-love given in that class, which is highly related. The willingness and ability to allow me to the right to make my own choices for myself without any insistence that I satisfy others. The willingness and ability to allow me the right to make my own choices for myself without any insistence that I satisfy others. Those certainly aren't the only definitions of love and self-love we could find, but I thought about this book, which ranks both among my personal favorites and my personal least favorite children's books. Those definitions of love really popped out at me. Those definitions of love and self-love are all about people making their own choices without anyone demanding that they be served or that they be cared for. By these definitions, love is about letting others make their own choices, and self-love is about making your own choices. With both definitions, one is not demanding satisfaction or service from another. Some people think that this book is really about parenthood, the need for a parent to give and give and give some more to their kids. I know that in the time of pandemic or with a tiny baby or a sick child, this may indeed be how it feels. But that saying about putting on your own mask in an airplane that is depressured is right on. yes, parental love is extremely one-sided in a lot of ways, at least for a large number of years. Parents care for their kids, and sometimes those kids can be demanding. But in the larger non-parental world of relationships, and perhaps we could even talk about the ways in a parental relationship, demanding that someone care for you in a way that diminishes you is surely problematic. I think I didn't say that well. Demanding that somebody care for you in a way that diminishes them is surely problematic. And I don't think this demanding love is what kids need to have modeled to them as the way of love, the best kind of love. In fact, one child I know, an older child, said, as I was doing my little interviews about what people thought about this book, "So this story says that you should destroy yourself to make somebody else happy? I don't think so." I know there is someone out there now, someone who loves this book. Let's talk. I'd really like to hear what your thoughts are. Maybe we'll end up in the same breakout room in the coffee hour. You can reach out in some other way. Maybe you're a parent who read this book to your kids and you have thoughts of a freshly bathed child snuggled up with wet hair and a warm smile. Or maybe you were that child. Remember, this goes back 50 years. Ruth Margolite of the New York Times Magazine has an interesting take on this, however. She wrote about her changed experience with this book in her most recent rereading. She wrote that when she realized that one of her favorite childhood reads wasn't what she remembered, she felt a thrill, a kind of scientific proof that I'd grown up and changed. Let me show you the last page of the original ending of the book that Nancy and I were just reading. You will see why we stopped reading where we did. The boy has asked for branches from the tree and even the body of the tree. The tree agrees to all of that. In the end, the old man version of the boy is seen here sitting on the stump of the tree, sitting on the stump of his friend, the tree. Something went wrong here, very wrong. I would call the love that is named in these definitions I just read a boundaried love. Boundaries say, I'm with you, but on my terms. I'll do my job or be your partner or be your friend, but not to my own detriment, not in a way that damages me. I will not give so much that I am hurt or killed in the process. I just want to love you and be mutual in our giving. Sometimes folks don't like it when you set boundaries, but let's remember that those people who don't accept or like boundaries, particularly new boundaries, are those who benefit from us not having them. I believe in giving and making sure you have enough energy to take care of yourself after you are done. To me, neither the boy nor the tree exhibits boundaries in this relationship. So boundaries, what are they? What do I mean when I say that? Reverend Lynn Ungar writes beautifully in this extract of her poem named Boundaries. The universe does not revolve around you. The stars and planets spinning through the ballroom of space dance with one another, quite outside your small life. You could move through time like a shark through water, neither restless nor ceasing, absorbed in and absorbing the native element. Somehow that boy got the idea that the world did revolve around him. He was a shark, moving through water, absorbing and taking all that he could, even unto his friend's life. But we know from our seventh principle about the interdependent web of all existence. To remind you, that principle is respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. It is the interconnection of all of the parts of creation that gives life instead of takes it. Nancy, shall we resume our story as the modern author, Tofir Payne, wrote in
Absolutely.
The Tree Who Set Healthy Boundaries, a new ending to the giving tree. I am too busy to climb trees, said the boy. I want a house to keep me warm. I want a wife and I want children and I need a house. Can you give me a house?
And the tree said, "Okay, hold up. This is already getting out of hand. Look, I was fine with giving you the apples to help you get on your feet. They'll grow back next season anyway. But no, I'm not giving you a house. You know, I've seen boys like you pull this nonsense with other trees in the forest. First it's the apples, then branches, then the trunk, and before you know it, that mighty, beautiful tree is just a sad little stump. Well, look here, boy, I love you like family, but I am not going down like that." "And while we're on the subject," the tree said, grabbing him by the collar of his shirt, "I recognize friendships evolve over time, and we may not see each other as often because you don't have time for your tree friends, but we used to be real tight. Now it feels like I only see you when you need something. How do you think that makes me feel?"
The boy took a long breath. He felt a sour rumble in his stomach because he realized he hadn't considered his friend's feelings. "I bet it makes you feel bad," said the boy.
"Yes, boy, bad. I can't even remember the last time you asked me how I'm doing."
"How are you, tree?" asked the boy. He sincerely wanted to know, so the tree told the boy all the gossip from the forest and introduced him to the family of red squirrels that had moved into her trunk. While she was glad for the company the squirrels provided, she was concerned about the long-term health effects of hosting a burrow. So the boy called the local tree specialist, who explained that squirrels don't eat wood, they only build nests in pre-existing holes, so the tree was in no danger. The tree was relieved, and so was the boy. He loved his friend and was concerned about her long-term health because she had taught him the importance of empathy. And so it continued, the tree and the boy looking out for each other like that. Both of them content in the knowledge that someone had their back. The boy attended culinary school, that's to say cooking school. The tree took courses online and got her certification in small business management. They did their homework together nearly every day. The boy became a pastry chef. Together they opened a bakery, selling the best apple pies anyone had ever tasted. It turned a profit in the first 18 months, which is most uncommon. Eventually, the boy had a son of his own, and much later, the son of the boy had his own family too. Because of their friendship, the boy was successful and fulfilled, and the tree grew wider and stronger, standing tall and beautiful in the forest for many, many, many years. Plus a few years even more than that. And as each generation played in her strong old branches, the tree often thought back to the fateful day when the boy had asked for a house. In truth, she would have given him her branches to build one. She would have given him her trunk to build a boat. She loved him that much. But then she would have had nothing left. Not for herself, not for anyone else. And there never would have been a home for the red squirrels. There'd have been no hide and seek with the boy's grandchildren, no bakery with the best apple pies anyone ever tested. Setting healthy boundaries is a very important part of giving. It assures you always have something left to give. And so the tree was happy. Everyone was. The end. Now that's an ending. That tree named its boundaries and stuck to them with perseverance. It would have been easy to give in, but it chose not to. It helped build a business and build relationships across time, and not only the boy, but down the generations. It persevered in calling the boy in as his requests got more and more outrageous. And the boy was educated morally and ethically in how to behave in a friendship with love. Win-win. Blessed be. Ashe, and Amen.
Though we will extinguish our chalice flame, we carry within us what we kindled, the light of inspiration, warmth of compassion, the fire of commitment. May we bring these gifts into our lives and share them radiantly out into the world. I invite you to join me now in our community blessing with these words of David Bumbaugh. This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences and beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time, death, and the space between the stars. We pause now in silent witness to that unity.
And now may the truth that makes us free and the love that casts out fear and the hope that never dies guide us and those we love and those we do not love forward together till the day spring breaks and the shadows flee away.